Jim with BikeFixTips.com, and I'm just going to show you how to replace a flat tire if you have tubes. If you don't have a tubeless tire, just make sure you have a spare tube in your backpack, or some patches if you don't have a tube. First thing you want to do if you're on the trail, get off the trail, because there could be other bikers coming along behind you, and you don't want to block the way for them. Just put the bike upside down in a flat area. Just easy spot to work at. And if you're in a race, you probably want to get this done as fast as possible, but that's probably why you need to convert to tubeless, because tube tires do take a lot longer. And if you still have a little bit of air, even though it's like a small puncture, just finish removing as much air as you can. Okay, and then what you do is you need to push this sidewall in to the center of where the valley of the rim is, and then just kind of pull back on the tire all the way back. And what happens is that it brings all this extra tire up, so you have a little bit to pull up over the rim wall, and then you just run your finger along the inside of the tire, and what that does is just brings it on the outside of the rim, so you can access the tube. Pull the tube out. Okay, after you find the thorn, remove it from the outside, and then feel on the inside, make sure that the thorn is gone. And once you found out, then I would check it again once more. Check the side walls and mainly the surface of the tire. Look for any visual thorns, and feel all around. Just make sure you don't have any more in there, because it would suck to have to replace. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to patch a tube in case you don't have an extra tube. Release all the air. You want to fill this up a little overinflated, just so you can listen for any where the hole is. Because right now with an empty tube, you don't know where the hole is, so you need to mark that so you know where to patch. And I overinflate it just slightly, just so you'll feel out where that hole is. It'll hiss at you. You can feel it on your hand. If your hands are extremely cold, you might not be able to feel it. And what you can do is just put it up against your face and feel for any air. And once you find out where the hole is, I can feel the air coming out right here. And what I do too, just for added insurance, look to see where the valve is in comparison to where the hole is. I'm sorry, in reference. And then you'll know if, let's say, you air down and you can't find where you scratched it. At least you'll kind of know in the general vicinity where it's going to be. Patch kits usually come with patches, glue, and this little. It's almost like sandpaper, but made of like a little piece of metal, and it uses to scratch up the surface of the tube, so it gets a good contact with the cement and the patch, something to adhere to. If you don't have that little grate thing, which I don't, you can just use like a sharp object from your multi-tool. For instance, like this flathead screwdriver does have a sharp edge, and what I do is I just mark it with an X, which will show you the indication, or it'll show you the mark where you need to patch, and at least this will get you home. Alright, now that I have all the air out, or most of the air out, find out where you scratched that tube. My X is right there. What I do is I use my tire, use a flat rock or something like that, but I like using the tire because it's right about working level. And I step on the front brake to make this a nice sturdy working area. I lay down the bottom part of the tube on the tire and lay the affected punctured area on top of that. Kind of flattens out your tread a little bit. And then you have a working surface to patch your tire. You have this glue. Part of the application process for the glue is to let it dry, so it adheres to the patch. So once you just put a little bit of glue over that X, especially where the X crosses, that's where the hole should be. Thin out the glue with your finger. Don't worry, it won't kill you. And let that dry. It usually takes about a minute to 2 minutes to let that dry, depending on how hot it is outside. Once you let it finish drying, then you apply your patch. And I would always hold a couple patches on you when you're going out mountain biking, just because if you run into a sticker, most likely you probably run into multiple stickers, and it could, you might have 2-3 different punctures in your tube. So you probably want to hold a few just in case. Okay, now that we let it set for a minute to 2 minutes, what you want to do is just make sure that it feels tacky, almost dry, and then you remove the foil backing, depending on the patch you have. Usually they have a foil backing, and then place the patch directly over the affected location, and then just smush it out as much as you can with your fingers. You don't need to get a tool or anything and start prying down on it or anything. This will do just fine. And I just leave this plastic piece on top. It's not going to bother anything the way it is. A lot of the times pulling back that plastic piece to remove it will actually start peeling back the tube, or the patch also. Once you have the patch on and you press it down firmly, it should be ready to put back in the tire and then air up, and you should be okay to get back home. Put it back into the tire. Alright. Once you get it in there, then you just put the tire wall back inside the rim where it belongs. And notice that the wall of the tire is pretty tight up here, where the point where you might need a tool. At this point, you'd go to the bottom of that tire, put it in the valley of the rim, and start pulling back on the tire, just like you did to remove it originally. And by that time, you should have enough slack to fold it up over the wall of the rim. There we go. Now let's air it up and see how it goes. Okay. In order to put this tire back onto the bike, here's a pretty easy way to do it. A lot of people, especially new people to mountain biking, well, they get kind of confused with the way the chain's supposed to be attached to the bike. First thing you do is you obviously get your cassette on the side where the chain is. You pull the chain up, the one that's resting on top, pull it up, put the chain on top of the cassette, then you just press down, pull the derailleur back. This is part of the shifting. This is just the way it's supposed to pivot anyway, so you're not hurting anything. Pull this back, push the rim down, and just take care to make sure that this disc goes into that slot where the brake pads are. You'll see that there's a gap right there where the rotor belongs. And as you line that up, make sure that the skewer goes down in place where the frame is. Once it's set down in there, it should spin freely. Then you know that your brake or your disc is actually in those between those pads properly. And at that point, you just tighten down the skewer. And just don't put it too tight. What you want to do is like a method of figuring out how tight you want it to get it. Just push down on this skewer, and it should leave an indentation on your hand. Then you know it's tight enough, not too loose, not too tight. You don't want to push down on that so hard that to the point where it feels like you're almost going to hurt your hand, or you have to put all your weight down on it or pry it with some kind of tool. That's just too tight. But anyways, then once you have it on your bike and the skewer's tight, just give it a quick pedal. Now it's in the right gear, but a lot of the times you'll put it in the wrong gear, and when you pedal that, it'll automatically go to the right gear. So when you flip the bike back over to go for a ride, it won't shift gears on you when you start to pedal. So that's how to replace the tube on a tire.